Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's What's Up Wednesday, where we are going live with you on Facebook and LinkedIn every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time throughout the summer to talk about our upcoming 22nd annual International Human Trafficking and Social Justice Conference coming up on September 17th through the 19th. We are pretty much exactly 2 months away, which I love the countdown, getting closer and closer every week. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining today. My name is Anna Schramm, and I am the conference planner of this amazing conference working at the University of Toledo's Human Trafficking and Social Justice Institute. And today I am delighted to have with me the founder of the conference and my boss, Dr. Celia Williamson. So, hey, Celia, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Awesome. So today we are focusing on our research-related presentations at the conference. Last week, we talked about our programming sessions, and I have been talking about how we are a very diverse conference. We have a variety of sessions, a variety of presenters and professionals who attend. So one of them is about researchers and different research projects that you can learn about that are being conducted in the anti-human trafficking and social justice fields. But before we get into that, Celia, I do want to give you the chance to briefly introduce yourself and talk about who you are and the work that you do for anybody who may not know who you are.
Yeah, well, I'm a social worker and I've been doing anti-trafficking work for probably 30 plus, almost 35 years. And really, like how I got started in this field is really recognizing that there's talent and there's genius, no matter what station in life that you happen to be in. So that's why, when you talked about being such a diverse conference, it's our attempt to really honor different ways of knowing. So you'll see us come on, What's Up Wednesday to talk about the research portions and the programming portions and the lived experience survivors and thrivers that we have presenting. Because, I grew up in poverty, not for lack of trying. My family was very hard workers, but because of redlining and discrimination and things, we just couldn't get to a level economically. But during those years, I saw a lot of talent and a lot of genius that just didn't have opportunity. And so I think being able to hear from people who are inside the university walls, which is important, but not only inside the university walls, but people that have been practicing for years have something to share. People that have lived experience have something to share. And so, that's what I think we are most proud about in this conference. So, 30 plus years, I'm still excited to hear from all the presenters that come to the conference every year because I still continue to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love, and I've learned a lot from you over the years about inclusivity and learning, always learning new things too. I mean, some people, especially you've been doing this work, like you said, for 35 years, but you still are open to learning new things, especially from the people who present at the conference, the people around you in your life. And just like we're ever learning. We are continuous learners. We always have something more, whether that is from a PhD at a university doing research, or somebody who has that lived experience, or somebody who started a programming, or somebody who writes laws or works in healthcare. So
Yeah.
there's always those different ways to learn. And I think, like you mentioned from your upbringing, like you've always been about that, and you've really intertwined that into the work that you do at the Institute where we work, and then also in this conference. So I love to see it.
Yeah.
Now you talked a little bit about this, but what is the importance of even like having research related presentations? Like, so we talked about, like, yes, we hear from survivors and healthcare and direct service providers and legal professionals. And that's all great. And we can really see that because they're the ones in the field doing that work, and we want to hear from them. But why do we even include research at a conference? What
Yeah.
is the importance of that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I teach at a university, right? So, and I teach social work students, and they hate research, right? But I love research because what we have to understand is that when we conduct research, we're being inclusive and we're understanding what is the best practice. What is the
Mm-hmm.
evidence based? What is based in evidence that we can then translate and share with people who are involved in the practice field or the policy field, passing laws? We can equip you with that information that you can run with and do the best. You know, we like to say we don't want to just do something. I hate that when people, oh, I'm just, at least I'm doing something. No, you need to be doing the best thing. And so when researchers present information, that's information you can use. And we try to work with our researchers to say, you know, be practical so that the people who come in your sessions understand. We don't want you to come in and use big fancy words without defining them or being, you know, very impressive. Like I used to go to sessions, you know, not at our conference, but I used to go to research sessions and I'd be like, oh my God, you know, I don't know what they just said, but I am so impressed that they are so smart that I can't understand it. To me, that's a failure. You should be able to take all of your hard work, you know, your $5 words, and you should be able to translate those into information that people can actually take away and use and do the best by their clients. And so as a part of the conference, we had people coming up to us and saying, hey, you know, I'm a researcher, like can we get together, can, you know, and so we formed a national research group and then it grew into a global research group. So now we have the Global Association of Human Trafficking Scholars that we call GATS. And GATS gets together, thank God, because, you know, Anna's amazing way to organize. Um, Gets us together at least once a month. We have conversations. We, you know, try to translate work. We try to, you know, just support each other, get information out to the world in developing countries and first world countries. And so it's a very powerful group that tries to be as practical as possible to get the information into other people's hands. And we're going to be talking about GATS at the conference, but you know, research is so important, and maybe it's not your thing, or maybe it is your thing, and you need to know that your tribe is out here, so you need to join us. Either way, that is what moves knowledge forward so that we can get you the best information.
Agreed. And yeah, I mean, as a researcher yourself, and you talk about the importance of knowing the best thing to do, having that evidence base. And so many people start programs or organizations without that research
Mhm.
behind it to back it up and have that longevity and that really effective impact. And so that's where research comes in, even though people think of it as boring sometimes or hard and confusing. But talk about, we want research to be understandable, and we want to translate it from those big academic jargon into something that
Mhm.
can be practical and implemented into programming and laws and all of that good
Yeah.
stuff. So that's, we really try to do that with the Global Association of Human Trafficking Scholars that Celia mentioned. And if you want to learn more about that, we do have our own website. We love an acronym, so we call it GATS. So it's just GATS.com. And I have the pleasure of also being able to coordinate that. And I get to work with these amazing researchers all year long. We have work groups where we do amazing things, and we just do really great work. I love being able to provide a space for people to collaborate, receive mentorship, talk about upcoming research projects. So, if you are a researcher yourself and you're not involved in GATS, then you need to come. You need to hang out with us. Do not, make sure that you sign up to be a member of that. If you want to learn more about research or even get
Yeah.
more access to articles, we even have some levels for that, just so you can access what's happening on like the Journal of Human Trafficking, where all of these new studies are being published. So it's a really great resource. So I encourage you to check that out.
Yeah,
But back to, oh yeah, go ahead.
yeah, before you move on, it just made me think of, one more thing just to convince our practitioners out there when they say, yeah, research, yeah, I do the work. I don't
Mhm.
do okay, so we're like handing you the best that you can just take, elevate yourself and go run and do it. And I don't want you to get confused of, I do the real work. I don't do, you want to do the best work, right? Because when you go to your doctor and you're like, well, my knee hurts, and your doctor starts looking at your elbow, and you go, what the hell are you doing? And they go, well, I'm doing something. I'm helping you. Yeah, but see, you're not doing the best thing because, you're not a researcher. That's fine. Take the information, run with it, and do the best work. So I just want to emphasize that we as researchers are a complement to what you're doing as practitioners. Don't just jump out there and be like, well, I feel it in my heart and I feel it in my gut, and that's why I'm going to do this. Okay, you need some evidence base behind you so that you are offering, like, the steak to your clients and not the hamburger. You're offering them the best. And so I just wanted to emphasize that, because I know people are like, I'm not about the paperwork. I'm just about the doing. Okay, well, you may not know what you're doing. Surprise. But, if you get with the best, you can take that and run with it and create around that what you'd like to do. So I just wanted to emphasize that.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And also, you like mentioned the collaboration between the two. I think walking hand in hand. So not just knowing that for practitioners, but also kind of to tell researchers, like, you just can't sit in your office or behind your desk and do this research. You do need to also come along the people who are doing this work, boots on the ground in the field, walk alongside them, learn from them, learn what their needs are. So you're not just doing a research study for the sake of doing a research study to get an article on your CV. Do a research study that's really needed in the community and is going to help. So really, that walking hand in hand between researchers and practitioners is so important. And I think that this conference is a great way to do that, because we have all people at the table, and then they can make those connections and start those collaborations. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. But back to the conference. So this conference, you are actually going to be talking about your Survivor's Journey program. And it's a program, we talked about that last week, but talk about like what this program has to do with research. Why are we talking about this right now?
Yeah, well, we have a program called Survivor's Journey, and it's really about trauma healing. So it trains facilitators to take survivors through 12 healing journeys, as fast or as slow as each person wants to go. Very much like an AA model, except these are journeys that help you heal through trauma. Well, we don't just like create those and like make it up out of thin air. We get that information from research and we translate it into something very practical and understandable. And so right now it is research informed. We've gone out and we've gotten effective, different studies and created these healing journeys in a practical way. You would not know that research was behind this, right? And that's the point. But when you put the 12 healing journeys together, do they indeed provide effective evidence-based outcomes? Do people heal? Do they get better? And so anything that we do now in terms of programming, we also study it so that we can tweak it and change it and make it the best. And so that is the Survivor's Journey program. So I'll talk about that, and then I'll talk about the research underpinnings of that, and then the study that we are proposing to do to create an evidence-based model.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, your session right there just highlights what we have been talking about, the the collaboration between the two and how they intertwine together between research and programming. So if you want to hear more about what Celia is going to talk about, I mean, I'm already excited. I know a lot about the survivor's journey, but Celia is always talking about more, always refining it to be effective. So make sure that you check out Celia's session and you register for the conference. So go to our website, trafficking.com/register, to hear from Celia and a lot of other great presentations. I am going to highlight some of the other research-based presentations that you could attend at the conference. Remember, I've been saying this, you have over 110 breakout sessions that you can choose from at this year's conference. It's a lot, it's exciting. There's a lot of great information from all different kinds of people. If that's overwhelming to you, it's overwhelming to me, but we are going to be recording our breakout sessions, and then you have up to 3 weeks after the conference to be able to watch those. So if you can't attend the session, or because you have a meeting, or because of time zone differences, or if there's a couple sessions in that same hour and you have a hard time choosing which one you want to attend, you can watch those sessions afterwards. We really want to make this information available to you so you can take it with you and take it back to where you are, implement it into the things that you are doing. So make sure you register. But some of the research ones that I want to highlight. So Dr. Alex Rister and Dr. Yulia Hoban and Maya Adkins will be talking about survivor-centered approaches to human trafficking, insights from 27 organizations. Next, we have Dr. Rachel Johnson and Marianne O'Malley. They're going to be discussing their research on the experiences of cisgender mental health professionals providing services to transgender or gender nonconforming individuals who voluntarily engage in sex work. Then Dr. Angela Robinson and Dr. Marta Furlan will be presenting on climate change and human trafficking, a study of the multiple, complex, and mutually reinforcing pathways through which climate change may amplify vulnerability to human trafficking. And let me just say, I love all of these ones so far because they are like nuances in human trafficking work. Some of these things we haven't talked on or have just been like barely touching on. And so I love that they're really researching some of these more complex issues.
That's cool. Yeah.
I know. I think it's going to be great. Then we have Dr. Sarbanaz Bakhmuratova and Dr. Rochelle Dalla, along with their research team, will be talking about their research study, which answered the question, what is the level of exposure to recruitment and self-perceived risk to human trafficking among young adults in the U.S.? And then finally, we have a lived experience researchers, Tonique Ayler, Terry Forliti, Joy Friedman, Mickey Mariotti, and Christine Nelson, who will be talking about Bringing Life to Research, a survivor's guide to community-engaged research partnerships.
I love that.
So that's going to be a great session. I think over the last year or so, I've really seen a lot more survivor involvement in research and even survivors as researchers themselves. We're actually working on a research project right now with GATS of survivor researchers and our GATS researchers, a partnership together to do research that is survivor informed, because if you're going to be researching about survivors, you want to include them in the work. Again, nothing about us without us, that saying. So I'm really excited for all of these sessions. We do have a lot of other research related presentations at the conference. You can view our full schedule on our website. It's just traffickingconference.com/schedule. We have all of our presentations up there, our research ones, and all the other variety of sessions that we have. So go and check that out. But yeah, Celia, is there anything else that you want to add about those sessions or anything else that we talked about today before we wrap up?
I mean, I just want to say that just if you are a researcher, I just want to reiterate, consider joining GATS so you can be around your people and they will help advance you even further and help you develop the questions, because we don't need you to spend your valuable time reading, finding answers to questions we already know the answers to. So if you get in that group, you'll understand where the gaps are, and it will help you when you do your research to actually advance the knowledge base forward. You're not a researcher, but you want to give your clients the best. Not only attend the research sessions at the conference, but you can also join GATS as an advocate. And we have a committee, a translation committee, that is working to translate that research into practical knowledge. So you don't have to be a researcher to join GATS, but you can be somebody who says, I want to offer my clients or my agency who serves clients the best information possible. And I think, that's the one thing that I wanted to make sure that I add. Don't be afraid of research. I love
Mhm.
I don't like learning research. It's pretty boring when you're
Let's be real. Let's
like they're talking about words. You're like, what are these words? And but
your eyes start to go crisscross and yeah.
I mean, let's just be transparent. But doing research is awesome
Mhm.
because if you like to watch murder mysteries or shows that have puzzles, where you have to figure out, that's a research project. It's like you're
Mhm.
interested in it, that's why you're doing it. But being able to then find out at the end what it is, what the answer is, like
Mhm.
that is so interesting to me. And if you can get through understanding the words, maybe they make you do a computer program or math, like that's what scares people. But if you can get beyond that, or connect with the researcher who knows that stuff,
Mhm.
and you're just helping them design what the questions are and what you want to know. And that is really very interesting. And I think that people just get caught up in the words in the computer and the math. But you can get you a researcher that understands that. But if you partner with them, you can ask really critical questions. You can get really important answers that help you do your job better. So I think that's what I would add.
Yeah, I think you summed it up really well and, just emphasizing the importance of that partnership and the importance of research. So, thank you so much for joining us today on our What's Up Wednesday. It was great to talk to you about the work that you do and importance of research. So, everyone, and thanks for joining us today to talk about this. As a reminder, we are going live on Facebook and LinkedIn every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time to talk about the upcoming conference. We're going to continue to highlight the different types of sessions that you can attend. Next week, I'm going to have special guest Carrie McGuire on with me, and we're going to talk about our direct service related presentations. So if you want to learn more about the conference, anything we've talked about today, how to register, where to view the schedule, all of that good stuff, go to our website, which is traffickingconference.com. So thank you again for joining today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will see you next week. Bye, everyone.